You can keep talking. We've been rolling this whole time.
Oh, okay. No, where did I start off? Oh yeah, I said I was late in the game, man. I was like 35 when I started. So see all these young kids and you guys look so different, you know. It's weird what time does to you. Like the optimism in your face and your eyes just goes away as you get older. So it's so cool. I do this for one reason. It's just because to see young people be creative and have fun and have an outlet. Like that makes me feel young for like the hour or so that I'm here, 2 hours or whatever else.
That is beautiful, Bert Young. That
Yeah.
is beautiful.
That makes me geeked up seeing you guys have fun because that reminds me when I was that age. You know, so I mean, that's probably one of the best parts about doing comedy. I think is seeing, you know, the young faces and seeing people develop in their comedy. You know, also seeing their act develop, seeing them develop, seeing them kind of grow up and have kids and you know, or even if they're single, just kind of seeing how their life develops and how their comedy matures as well as they mature. So I think that's probably, I think, one of my favorite parts about doing comedy.
What a beautiful way to start this podcast.
Holy shit, that was incredible. That was incredible.
Wow. Okay, so you've been at it. You said you started late when you were like 35.
Yeah, I was 35. I started from a bad day at work, and I was like,
Really?
You know what? I'm gonna try comedy and make this much worse. Like I had like the worst day at work. I was training at an insurance company, and I was like, you know what? I always wanted to do stand up comedy. I was like, today's the damn day. So I went ahead and looked up open mics around me, and it just so happens there was an open mic in Orland Park, which was I think was about 30 minutes away from me that night. So they say you should have 5 minutes of jokes. So I wrote 5 jokes about me and how I was. And I drove to this mic and I walked in the bar and I saw like all these young people and I'm like, oh, this is not for me. I almost walked out and I was like, stop being a punk and go back in there and sign up. So I signed up and did the worst 5 minutes ever in the history of comedy. It was so bad. It was so bad. I couldn't gather my thoughts. I was nervous. I stuttered. And then I was like, okay, I want to do this some more. So for about a year and a half, I just kept going to that one place and kept doing it.
It is so interesting, like going to your first open mic, because all of like everything you thought about comedy is shattered pretty much immediately.
Oh yeah.
Like all of like the dreams or the fantasies that you had about it is like completely taken away, and it's like a very naked reality that is like sad. Like to the outside eye, I think it is just sad, but like I also remember walking away from my first mic just like so excited about it. Like I loved it so much.
Like you wanted to do the next one, right?
Yeah, like it was not at all what I thought it was going to be. The place that I was at was not at all what I thought it was like I would be doing comedy at. I didn't think it was a place where people did comedy. But yeah, it was such an interesting day because like, you know, the idea that you have of something dies completely, but then like something else is born out of that.
It's amazingly humbling when you have a situation like that.
Yes.
Like you're thinking if you ever did comedy on stage, you'd be in a big stage in front of people. They're ready to laugh. You kind of think about, you know, like if you ever watched Def Comedy Jam or any comedy show, like on Comedy Central growing up, you think that's how your first time is going to be.
Yes.
And it's the exact opposite of that.
Yes, and you can see that in new comics too. You see them like playing to the back of the room. And they're like, there is no back of the room. Like, I don't know why you're hitting the balcony right now. Like, there's nobody in this room. There's like 10 faces in front of you that you can't look at.
I love the unwarranted applause breaks. Like, you should have laughed at that.
Yes. That didn't get what it deserved.
Yeah. I thought it was funny on the way here.
So let me ask you this. From your experience doing mostly shows, how are you reading the room now? Differently.
I always like to get in about 30 to 45 minutes before a show. I like to kind of read the people there. You can kind of tell the looks on people's faces, the age groups. I like to hear little conversations that they're having, before my set or before I go on, because that helps a lot. That kind of gets you into the mood that they're in and the flow that they're in. There's some groups that's just not going to have it, regardless. But if you can get in little bits of conversation, and if your set does go to kind of a stall or a lull, then you can say, hey, I heard you were talking about this, and kind of roll off of that. And then they get emotionally involved when you involve the crowd. And then everyone else kind of gets involved, and then it's a ripple effect.
You'll bring up something that you heard somebody talking about earlier?
Yes.
That's interesting. Like someone like that you don't know who shows up to a show.
Oh, definitely.
Like you heard a conversation they had, and then you bring that up on stage.
Oh yeah, my set. It depends. It depends how my set's going. If I'm in a good rhythm and I'm kind of flowing, then I'm kind of like, you know what, I won't do that. But if there's little lulls here and people are kind of talking amongst each other, okay, I'll bring up that you cheated on your boyfriend before. I heard you before you got up here. Why did you go ahead and cheat on him for? What was your reason then for that? What type of person are you? And then they kind of get involved, and then you kind of have to calm them down a little bit, but. When someone in the audience sees someone else get involved, they kind of get involved.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to listen to this. It's kind of like, like voyeurism, where, I'm kind of hearing this. They're kind of part of that conversation you're having with this person. Because you're not just having the conversation with that person, you're having it with everybody.
Yeah.
And, people kind of feed off that. So I kind of, go to that conversation and then, kind of nip it in the bud. Then they stop talking amongst themselves and I can go on about my act.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say like calming people down, because I think that's something that takes a while for comics to realize. That's something that definitely took me a while to realize, is like part of your job is to calm people down and like make them feel safe and comfortable in a room. Yeah. And I feel like when you start comedy, a lot of what you want is like, you want to shock people. You want to say like harsh, like I feel like I wanted to be lifting heavy weights like with my jokes. But like you forget that you're talking to a room full of people and they don't know who you are, and they have no idea what to expect coming out of your mouth, and like part of what you're doing is making people comfortable.
No, I agree. It's almost like you're taking them on a ride. They're going on a roller coaster ride. You're gonna bring them up, then you're gonna bring them down, then you're gonna bring them back up, and I feel that they kind of, especially, you being a host, you already know, the audience goes towards your tone. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when you're hosting, there's sometimes you just have to eat shit, You have to eat shit and then kind of bring up the first guy, let him warm them up. Okay, they're warmed up. Now I'll go ahead and I'll feel the kind of the tone of the audience. Then I'll go in with my things, and it'll hit a lot better than it did before. Sometimes you get a cold audience, and it happens.
Yeah, yeah, and sometimes like you don't have enough time to warm them up. Yeah. Or it's like you don't know what they want or what's going to warm them up, because like you can't know that until you get on stage. And it's like you start figuring it out throughout your set. And sometimes things click really easy. And like those are really, really fun sets. But yeah, there are times as a host where it's like you go your entire set and you're like, I don't think I ever got them. Yeah. I don't think I ever won them tonight.
Like there was zero rapport built up. But that's interesting, like how you gain the rapport, not just for yourself as the host, but like these other comics that you are bringing up. Like how do you keep it funny all the way through?
Throughout a show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's something that I'm trying to learn from hosting this mic. This has been my most consistent hosting experience. I feel like right now, it starts with just energy. Like I feel like if I can just have like a good positive energy going up, then like that's most of what I'm hoping for. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it also depends on like each comic in between their sets. Like sometimes someone does something crazy and you kind of have to address that, or sometimes someone like one of their jokes makes me think of another joke, and then I'll do like something off that just to keep energy going. Yeah. But I always feel like when I'm hosting, it's that game where you're trying to keep the balloon from falling to the ground. Yeah. That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm just always trying to keep the audio like just up in the air.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. It's an ensemble piece, You all have to work together. Yeah. Like if you have a show with 5 or 6 people, okay, maybe I'm a host. I kind of warmed the crowd up just enough to get that person there. And then the other person, your opening act does great. Then you have to go in. Then you can, like you say, work off of what they said, use a joke that they had. Yeah. And then now they're warmed up. Now you can do a little bit of crowd work. Or if the momentum is really good, then you just push the second person up. Yeah. Like you're kind of infantry man. When you're hosting, you're like, okay, I'm gonna take these bullets for you guys.
You're a pawn.
Exactly.
Yeah, literally. You're a fucking pawn. You're like, I'm just gonna get eaten real quick.
Yeah, and you already know it sometimes going in, but that's okay because if it wasn't for the host, then that wouldn't set the tone for the show.
Yeah.
I always think between the host and the headliner are the most important people in the show.
Yeah, feature's easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Feature, you can just go and do your set and just be totally focused on what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
But when you're a host, you have to eat the bullets. The same thing with the headliner. Now you're only the headliner. You have to live up to that, and you have to do a longer set. The audience has to be with you because it is a longer set. It's and a lot of times audiences get tired just like anyone else. Hour and 30 minutes. That's a long time. That's a movie.
Shit.
Yeah.
What you looking at me for?
Because I totally had something and I just completely forgot it. What I was gonna say is also like the audience is so much a part of the show,
Yes.
and I feel like it's the host's job to express that. And the host's main job is to get energy out of the audience. I feel like. But it's also like you want them to understand that like them having fun makes the show better. Like if they bring a good energy, then the comics are going to bring a better energy. They'll take more risks in their act. They'll be like literally funnier if they give them more energy. Yeah. So it's like that is the job of the host. And something that was frustrating last week is like during the mic last week, nobody wanted to clap. Just nobody in the room just wanted to clap. So it was like I brought up 25 comics, and in between them, I got like 2 claps each for like I don't know why.
All depends.
Weird sometimes.
And it's rough too, like on a weekday, because people are just getting off work.
Yeah.
They've already used all of their energy, but they come here anywhere. They come here, to get a laugh, but they don't want to. They want to laugh, but they don't want to expend the energy to laugh.
Yeah.
So it makes it really hard to kind of push it out. Come on, let's go. You guys are here to laugh. You're not at work anymore. And sometimes you have to remind, hey, you're not at work anymore. You get out that mode. It's time to laugh, have fun. Have a couple drinks.
Yeah.
Loosen up a little bit. Hey, we're all here to have fun together. And the more fun you have, we're going to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That means you're going to have a better show.
Yeah, definitely.
You have to sometimes you have to remind them of that, you know, because they don't think about that when they come in.
Yeah. And so the comics need to be reminded of that too.
Yeah.
Like I'll walk into a show like nervous, like feeling like shit, feeling like I'm not funny, and then like I'm in my head the entire time. Mm-hmm. But it's like if I'm just having fun, if I just bring a good energy, it'll most likely be a much better show. Than if I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you got a room full of comics all in one place too. They're dragging from work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've seen this set before. I've seen that before. I like to come into it as kind of enthusiasm. I like to see someone do the same set, but throw a little different loop into it. That I get a kick out of that. Because I'm like, okay, they're working on that. Even though if it doesn't work, they're still trying something new. Yeah. And once you kind of bridge things together, and I like seeing people at mics and then seeing them at shows. Because then the things that you get to see at a mic and then that materializes in a show, and you get a real audience laughing at the same thing, and it's 10 times the amount you would see at an open mic, is really cool. Because that means that that long drive getting here, sitting here through, 25, 30 comics, them kind of writing things, it all worked. Yeah. It was all worth it.
Yeah.
Like all of that.
Yeah, it's nice, especially because it's like it's hard to see for yourself sometimes. So it's nice to be able to see other people like grow and progress, and it's like you see the math, like you see their work, and I think it helps you develop too.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of times I'll see someone and it might be a totally different idea than what they're talking about, but one word will spur something in my writing. Hey, I could have did this, or I could have said my joke, not the same joke, but I could have said that with a very similar delivery and it would work better. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or even like for instance, I'm doing some script writing work, and I'd be like, man, the way he said that will be the same way that this character would say it. Like, and the way I had it was totally wrong. So I write that down and kind of switch it up, because creative people feed off of creative people.
1,000%, yeah.
And I think that if one idea, just starts a spark, then it starts another thing, then it starts another thing, kind of like a chain reaction. So I think just being around creative people and having conversations with creative people really helps too, even before and after the mic.
Yeah.
Because my work conversation is totally different than the conversations I have here. Like it doesn't spur me. Like I work with very nice people, but at the same time, it doesn't get my creative juices going.
Yes, they don't inspire you.
Exactly. Yeah. Like these are just terms that I have to use. But when I see other people trying to be funny, and other people that are creative, and other people that have ideas, that makes me have more ideas. That makes me step up my conversation game. That makes me step up my just in terms of how I interact with people in general. Boy, I gotta be on my game because all these guys are quick.
Yeah.
You know, I can kind of log at work for 8 hours, but in terms of me trying to, you know, develop myself as a human being, like places like this and times like this is really where I kind of step into the forefront in terms of how I am as a human being and creatively. And that's kind of where I think I shine.
What do you think, like, I've been asking a lot of people this, what do you think your biggest growth spurt as a comic was? Like the period of time where you feel like you hit the biggest stride, like you grew the most, maybe something clicked for you, maybe you like got a piece of advice from somebody else, maybe you had a good show and something kind of worked out.
I would say probably that would be then year, probably I would say 5 to 7.
Yeah.
I think I was doing more shows. I was getting more of a rhythm. I was kind of hitting a stride. You know, and I say year 5 to 7. I've been doing it for 10 because COVID. You know, I kind of had to come back. But I would say probably years 5 to 7. I really had a great relationship with the crowds that I did, and I think that was the most important thing. I think my writing is better now. I think if I write something, oh, that's not gonna work. I think my editing is better now, but I think my relationships with the crowd was a lot better then. And I think that's kind of where I kind of hit my stride in terms of performance. Now, the best advice that someone ever gave me was in my second show. There's a comic named Jimmy the Hook. I'll never forget this. He's 80-some years old.
At the time?
Yeah, at the time. He was 82 years old. And I did a show at Joe's in Joliet. And this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Most of the comics were in their early to mid-20s. Probably mid-20s at the oldest. So they had all their friends come. And then some of the younger people in the bar came. But then it was about a crowd of 75 to 80-some-year-old people sitting on the other end. So it's split in half. Like all these young people were sitting on the left side and all these older people were sitting on the right side. And we're like, okay, this is kind of... So it's almost like how the beginning of life and then the end of life.
It's like an Animorph book. You get to see like everybody like coming up and coming back down.
Turn on the filter, just look left and right. Shit.
And the comics and it's so funny because I did a show with a couple of the comics I did a show with then, just maybe about a month ago, and it was a great show. It was fun. It was like probably my second show that I ever did, and I was so nervous I couldn't really even think of anything. But I can remember Jimmy the Hook comes up to me. He goes, "How long have you been doing comedy?" I said, "This is probably my first year, but it was my second show because I went to a mic, pretty much one mic my first year for the whole year." And he goes, "Look, I'm going to tell you this." And he goes, "Don't ever worry about offending people. When you write your jokes as if that person is in front of you. And if you can tell that joke in front of that person, you never have to worry about offending anybody." And that's probably the best comic advice I ever got. And I always stuck to that. I said, if I can write a joke about somebody and tell it to them and they think it's funny, then I can tell that joke to anybody.
Yeah. You know, just fear gets in the way of so much. And I think a lot of us who get into this have these kind of like, I don't know, scared minds in some ways. Like you're scared of saying something, you're scared somebody's not going to take it well, you're scared people aren't going to like you when you say it, you're scared you're going to like lose a crowd.
Yeah.
And that's something I've been working on too. I got to host New Year's, and Alex Ortiz was the headliner, and in between shows he was like, just don't be scared, just fuck it.
Yeah.
Just fuck them. Like it's just about you shining. It's about like you doing.
They're there to see
thing.
You. You're not there to please them.
Yes. They're not there for you to please them.
Yeah.
And I think I can like mentally get stuck in a loop of that, of thinking that like I'm just there to please these people, but really they're here just to see me do whatever I want, to see me be free.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to get into that mindset.
Yeah. You have kids, right?
Yeah, I have 2 kids. I have a 26-year-old and a 17-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Santi is about to have his first son in any day now, pretty much.
For real,
man.
any day.
What do you
excited?
remember?
I mean, I'm ready for whatever. Like, I'm happy, I'm excited, and I'm scared, all in this beautiful mix.
You're scared as fuck. I was scared. I tell you what, man. And me and my wife planned our pregnancy. But when I found out I was gonna have my son, I was scared shitless.
Yeah.
And oh my God, you have reason to be. This is a human being involved.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, just the thing I would tell any new parent, man, just be your genuine self. Be your genuine self. Your kid's gonna love you regardless. Just be your genuine self. Don't feel you have to hide anything from them. And just, I mean, of course, age appropriately, just expose them to whatever you know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm excited to smoke with my kid one day.
Like 3rd grade.
Oh, shit.
I was going to say, it's kind of late nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays.
Yeah, you're going to have to keep him off the vape in kindergarten.
Oh, I swear. Catch him with like a Zen pack, fucking preschool. Be like, where'd you get this? No, I'm not. I'm honestly like excited for it, and I'm excited for the changes to come. And like even how you were saying, like if you could tell a joke to them, I can't wait to tell the jokes I tell my kid about himself.
Your kid's going to be, and this is going to be, a lot of my jokes when I started and when my son was young, a lot of it was about my family. A lot of things were things that I got from my family. And I think that was probably the best material that I had. I didn't have to change anything. It's how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to, say, I didn't have to expand on anything. How it happened was just funny because that's just life.
Yeah.
And now I can tell my son's 17, I can tell a joke to my son, and that's one of my sounding boards. Like, oh, what do you think of that? Oh, Dad, that was funny. Because I don't want to appeal to anything more than someone with a 17-year-old mentality. Because we're all 17, technically. Yeah. Even you can see someone that's 56, 57 years old. We all tell little jokes like that. Like, we all do our little, that's what she says. And,
Right.
I work with mostly 60, 70-year-old, people, professional people. But we all have, those little moments where we would say something, we giggle just like little kids. Because really, we don't really grow out of that phase of being 17. We really don't. I mean, yeah, we might have responsibilities get a little bit more. And, our social circle tends to expand and then shorten. But the thing is, we're still all teenagers. We're still all kids.
Isn't that crazy, man? That you're just like a 17-year-old who ended up 45?
Yeah!
You just waited around long enough?
It really is like your body just changes, but your mind really doesn't. I mean, you have different perspectives on things, but your mind and you being a kid, we're all just really kids.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older, you kind of almost revert back to that, that childlike state or, teenage-like state. But man, we're practically just all the same age range. We just have different adults and we're walking around in different bodies.
That's a good way of looking at like age and how you were saying earlier that creative people really do gain more from being around each other. And like if you're always using your kids as like as a source of a joke or a punchline, or they said something new to you and showed you a new way of saying it, you're learning from like the kids that you're, I mean, like, whether you like it or not, like, you have to love and you have to learn. That's beautiful. It's like a cool little circle of life.
It is. And you start to see a little bit of yourself in your kid, too, which is really interesting because it's almost you're kind of looking externally, but it's internally also. Like, he does the same things you do, the same type of mannerisms, has, the same type of build that you have or whatever else. And when you see your child and you see kind of a miniature you growing up, it does something to you. It really just makes you, kind of take a step back in your life and go, okay, well, he's going through this. He's going just like you were, Might be a different time, but it's still the same things.
I totally agree. And I'm naming my kid after me, but me and my dad have the same name. But I don't like my dad enough to tell him that.
So he's going to be a third?
He's going to be a third, yeah.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Me and my dad have the same name, but it's spelled different. So I'm not a junior. It's a different Bert. He's B-I-R. He was B-I-R-T, and I'm B-E-R-T.
Dude, I'm so fucking jealous. Now I want a fucking kid.
Right? Dude, I don't have just a kid. I have an heir.
Yes. You have succession now.
It's
so
a
this
legacy,
podcast,
man.
this podcast now will have an heir.
Dude,
the sole heir to this podcast.
The owners, Glenn and Angie, the owners of this place, they gave me a little onesie that said "Future Stand-Up Comic."
Oh, that's sweet.
Dude, it melted me. I showed it to my wife. She was like, "That's amazing." It was beautiful.
Oh man, you know what? He'll probably grow up with the same type of sense of humor too.
Oh, 1,000%. Like what you were saying, they get those traits. Like, my dad's not a comic, but he's never a serious guy.
Yeah.
So like I will 1,000% know that my kid will be hilarious.
Just watch out for those parent teacher conferences, because those can be murder when your kids are hilarious.
Oh man. Oh, it's one of the scarier parts, like the traits that like you wish they didn't get.
Oh man, you know what? My kid should have raised me. I'll be honest with you. My 17-year-old kid is so responsible, it's unreal. Like, and I was not that way at 17. I was a fucking mess. Like, I was, just partying and hanging out, and I didn't care about anything else, and it was about girls, and like, he's a responsible dude. Like, he's just, he has his head on straight, he knows what he wants to do. Like, I still don't know what I want to do. Like, it's still a toss-up, man. But he is, like, he's like an actual man, and then I'm just like living in his house. I feel like the imposter.
Nah, you're the financial support of his freedom. Keep it up.
I'm the benefactor of his immaturity.
I have to go seat the room. I feel like you guys are having kind of a sweet fatherly moment though. So if you guys want to keep rolling, you definitely can.
Yeah, man, I'm game.
It was cool. We'll end it out.
We'll end it right here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Signing off. Any closing remarks?
First show of the year, amazing guest. Honestly, this was like the perfect way to start a new year. Made me want to wish I worked on my resolutions a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's it from me. Thank you so much, Bert.
And thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you for being here.
This is great.
This was fun. All right, signing off. Thanks for watching.